Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Jaren Lewison about Season 3 of Never Have I Ever, which recently dropped worldwide on Netflix. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to chat with you. Is it two different mindsets a little bit? I mean, you did some interviews before it dropped. It's dropped now. I mean, obviously, we don't want to go spoilers, but do you have to prepare yourself differently for like the pre-launch and post-launch interviews?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not someone who's like great with secrets. So sometimes the pre-launch ones are a little bit more difficult for me because I just want to tell everyone everything because I'm so excited, especially for fans who are so passionate. When people ask me about the season, I'm like, I want to tell you. I can't.
I know it is so crazy. And, you know, we were saying before we started, I mean, like, big season for Ben. I feel like we could say that for every season. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you know, one of my favorite things about the show is just like, specifically with Ben, like the growth of the characters is just unbelievable. Like, it's up there compared to other shows, like in terms of how these characters have changed. What's it like kind of seeing specifically Ben's kind of growth season to season, with this one being like there was a lot kind of happening with him figuring things out and doing a lot of self-reflection?
Yeah, I love it. I think as an actor, that's the dream, right? Is that you get to portray a character that's so multifaceted and has so much depth and is so complex to him. And it continues this upward trend of growth. And you watch Ben mature into like this young man, and he still messes up, and he's still sometimes that season 1 Ben where he's like loud and brash and hurling insults, but you also get to watch him be very vulnerable, and you dive into underneath the surface of who Ben really is.
Yes.
And when you peel back the layers of that metaphorical onion, you have the chance to see who he is at his core. And I love that Mindy and Lang and the rest of the writers have given me so much to play with in terms of Ben and exploring his home life and navigating through his personal and romantic relationships. I just think that he's a character that is so real. And I know Ben Gross in real life. I know a lot of Ben Grosses in real life. And sometimes you look at them and you're like, man, dude, if you just like relax a little bit, I think that you would have a lot easier of a time. But sometimes they have to go through sort of these trials and tribulations to be able to open up to people. And Ben is learning that right now, which is so much fun to get to play as an actor. And everybody has been so kind, and the reactions have been so overwhelmingly positive. The fan cams, what people have been loving about this season and the last two, it means so much to me to be a part of a show like this that's so groundbreaking and is such a pioneer, to be on this type of show with this kind of character. Again, just feeling so blessed, so thankful.
And it's one of those things too, you know, during the pandemic, I mean, you know, everyone's been doing a lot of soul searching and self-reflection. A lot of the characters, including Ben, even if it's off like directly or indirectly, there's a lot of kind of figuring things out as you go. People have been doing a lot of like self-reflection. The characters in Never Have I Ever are doing a lot of soul searching. So the show becomes like 10 times more relatable right away because of that. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that our show does such an incredible job of being relatable and representative in real life, because I think that the writers understand that that's really what means so much to people, because that's what means so much to them. Mm-hmm. Our writers have all experienced these storylines in real ways, even ones that seem like they're impossible to experience. Like in this 3rd season, Ben winds up in the hospital. This is a bit of a spoiler, but he winds up in the hospital for stress-induced constipation. That actually happened to one of our writers. So like, yes, it is very funny, but it's also a very real thing where you get so stressed out that it has such an adverse impact on your mental and physical health. And we watch Ben go through that. And we watch all of these characters go through the soul searching that you're talking about, and these identity crises, and learning who they are and who they want to be. And that growth and those trajectories into being adults is so fun. And what I love about our show is sometimes that's messy, and sometimes it's chaotic, and there's failures, and you get in situations where you're like, oh man, like I've really messed up here. But that's representative. That's relatable. That's what people want to see. And Mindy always says stable relationships are boring.
Yeah.
And I agree, they are, because that's not real life. It's not always sunshine, lollipops, and roses. Sometimes there is this like massive roller coaster and these ups and downs.
And it's so interesting you say that because, and I'm just curious from, Jaren Lewison, the storyteller, but even the viewer. I mean, you look at a lot of shows like Never Have I Ever, and it's funny, but it's got coming of age. And I feel like we're not reinventing the wheel here, but I feel like comedy always has, like even my favorite sitcoms growing up, there's always serious undertones. There's always important issues and everything. Do you see comedy like with like the serious undertone lens at all when you were kind of watching it or working in it? Because it's like,
Oh yeah.
the slapstick sometimes in more things than others is like really evident in your face, but there's always serious undertones, self-reflection, all that stuff as well.
Yeah, Mindy and Lang always say that the best comedy is rooted in drama. Because that's what makes the comedy funny, is that you get connected to these characters. And when you have moments, and I think Never Have I Ever, like again, Mindy and Lang and the rest of the writers create this beautiful balance of having moments that are so heartwarming and so meaningful and impactful and can make you sob, either happy or sad tears. And when you have that foundation underneath, you get to build these really fun jokes on top of that because you care so much about these characters that when you're seeing them in these like goofy situations or you're watching them mess up, you're screaming and cackling at the TV because you care so much for whoever your favorite characters are. It's really special and it's a very hard thing to do. And again, I give so much credit to the writers for being able to maintain that balance. And I think it just keeps getting better each and every season because we're watching these characters grow. We're learning more about who they are, and it gets funnier and funnier and funnier because you're getting more connected to who they are and who they're becoming. So I love it so much. Even sure, I might be a little biased because I'm an actor in the show, but I'm also a fan of it and I love watching it. And it makes me laugh. It makes my roommates laugh. Like, it's just such a comfort for me. And I know for people around the world, we're in like 190 countries. We have over 50 million viewers. It relates to so many people. And I just feel so lucky to be a part of something like that.
It's like, which questions I'm going to ask, because this was literally my next question. So you're reading my mind here.
Yeah, great minds think alike. Come on.
Well, no, it's one of those things. So you can answer this whether season 1 or season 3, because I do feel like when it dropped for season 1, everyone was kind of falling in love with all these characters and it was a crazy reception, right? You look at it now, it's like unbelievable. And I feel like people kind of want that season 4 to drop soon because it's kind of like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? But
that's right.
I'm wondering, and it could be a little bit of both, but like the Netflix effect is so unbelievable in my opinion for 2 reasons. Obviously, like you said, the global aspect, you know what I mean? It dropped in so many countries. But the quickness is the one that freaks me out the most, to be honest with you. Like how quick it is. And you could be in, Eastern time zone or Pacific time zone. You wake up and because of different time zones, so many people have already seen it. So is the global access or the quickness the one that kind of stood out to you when you were kind of joining the show the most?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think that the global aspect is a little bit more mind-blowing for me.
Yeah.
Because I think that oftentimes when you look at like the world in general as a large-scale scope, there are so many different cultures and so many different people around the world that kind of relate to different things, and there is no universal experience of growing up, I would say.
Yeah.
But there are certain themes that are universal. And I think that our show has found those. You look at growth and identity and messiness, romance. There are so many things in our show that you can relate to. So no matter what your intersectionality is, you can find something in our show to relate to get excited about, to be passionate about, no matter where you are in the world. So I think that that's something that's really, really special and unique. And I don't know tons of shows where no matter where you are, you can look and you can watch the show and you can be like, wow, that totally reminds me of my life or my friends' lives or my family or my culture or my upbringing or my experience. There are so many things in our show that people relate to. And I think that that's really special. And that's why we were #1 in like over 80 or 90 countries. Like that to me is just mind boggling. I especially haven't gotten the chance to travel as much as I want to. And people in places I've never been and that I'd love to go to have seen the show. And if I ever go there, I'll get to interact with those fans.
Hashtag Team Ben is global, man. It is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's just so special to be a part of something like that. that means so much to so many people around the world. It's fantastic.
It is so fantastic. It's so crazy to see as well. Never have I ever, in terms of, the genre and the style, we kind of know what we're getting ourselves into. We're getting ourselves into, comedy with drama, coming of age and everything. There is a lot of genre bending happening in content these days, Jaren. I'm just curious, what's that like kind of working as a storyteller in a landscape now where the genre is kind of like, leaving a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? We're kind of putting a lot of things in.
I mean, I love blending of genres. Yeah. I'm a big proponent of that because I think that, especially as an actor and even as a viewer, that's really so much fun. And that's where you're adding more and more depth onto these characters, onto these stories. And I think that it's more interesting to watch. And when you're talking about relatability, that's also more relatable. Sometimes in your life, for instance, even a day in your own life, right? You're so excited. You're waking up. It's going to be a great day. And then you get a flat tire on your way to work and you're in this like method of despair and you're feeling so terrible, but then the tow truck comes and the guy helps you change your tire and you connect with him and then you're back up here and then your girlfriend calls or your boyfriend calls and they've had a great day and then you're back up and then your dog's peed on the carpet and now you're back down. It's like
he's writing a script on the show.
It's such a roller coaster ride. Life is. So I love that our show is that way as well.
But I feel like maybe, because right now, I'm wondering if you agree with me on this. Like, genre bending now, it's like a trend. It was like when hot sauce was huge and all over the place, right? Like, I feel like genre bending is like a trend. People are like, okay, we need to make an action zombie comedy. You know what I mean? But like some of my favorite movies growing up, I don't think anyone like woke up and was like, hey, Jared, I want to make like a movie that has like 9 genres. Like, I feel like it just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's premeditated?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that people are pushing the envelope and they're being so creative and they're exploring new aspects of our business and how they can kind of weld some of these genres together. Like way back when rom-coms came out, everyone was like, what? And now with whether it's that action zombie comedy movie like Zombieland or something, it's fun and it's fresh and it's new and you get to watch it. And I don't see that it's a trend that will ever dissipate.
No,
because I think that you're finding so many original new stories and that's what we need. We need stories that are new and fresh, that are diverse and inclusive and push the boundaries of things that we have not known before. We're exploring new cultures. We're exploring new intersectionalities and that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
That genre bending is so important for us to continue and to grow and to progress into a new landscape for film and TV in general.
Are you a fan of horror movies? Like, do you enjoy that genre?
I don't love horror because I don't like being scared. And then someone recently I said that to, and they were like, well, do you like dramas? Do you like to cry? And I was like, sometimes.
Well, you know what's funny? I did an interview. That blows my mind, though, because, like, if I see you like pop up in a horror movie, I'm gonna remember this interview because I feel like that's hilarious. I interviewed someone once who's in like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, and she told me like she can't watch it. Like she gets terrified by horror movies. Isn't that crazy to think about though?
Well, I can act in a horror movie, and I'd love to do that because I think it'd be so much fun.
Yes.
But I don't like myself the feeling of being scared. I know a lot of people do, which is why it's such a popular genre. I just personally, the jump scares and not.
Well, it's just because I just love it because it's just like it's like the horror movies that come out now are just so revolutionary in terms of what it is. Like it's not like your typical like blood, like jump scares, like there's genre bending, like some of them are actually like kind of funny, you know what I mean?
I do love like psychological thrillers, if that's like scary, if that counts. Like I love those types of movies. Because I like things that make me think and I like things that are creepy, but like I don't want to be scared to like not turn the lights off when I go to bed.
No, I totally see that as well. I understand that for sure. I used to was scared, but then I just got into them and I just started watching them. I watched so many that I started just like getting used to it and I wasn't scared anymore.
Yeah.
Jaren Lewison is a storyteller. That's what you do. What excites you the most about storytelling?
I think the ability to just like provide catharsis or do a role that means something to someone.
Yes.
And I think that it works on both the creative side and the audience side, because to be a part of a director or a writer's vision, to bring about something that they've worked on for so long and watch and kind of propel their vision.
Yep.
And then at the same time, to have audiences watch it, have that vision be brought to life, and they see something out of it, and they have the ability to have this catharsis, I think is so special and important, because that's really what means so much to people. And it offers that escape. I think that when I watch a film or a TV show and I can dive into it, I do forget about my stress for an hour or two or more or whatever it might be. And I think that being a part of a career that can tell different kinds of stories, that can, again, be so relatable for so many people, that's really special. And it's really unique. And I don't think that there's a lot of careers that allow for that creativity to flourish. I think music's a really great one, and dance and other art forms. But for me, acting is really what speaks to me, and I think what I am naturally drawn to in order to be able to tell those stories.
Very well said. No, I agree. Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of people from some of my favorite movies growing up that when I was watching when I was a kid, and I actually thank them, and I say, you this film was there for me during tough times. Like, it's so crazy to think about. It's so true. So that was really well said. Jaren, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was so great chatting with you.
Thank you. You too.
Never Have I Ever Season 3 available now. Here's the thing, right? Like, if they haven't seen it, they could watch it. But you know what they could do if they have seen it, they can rewatch it again, right? And get ready. That's
exactly right. As many times as they want, it's there.
And then get ready for the 4th season, which was going to come out when it comes out. I feel like everyone, I feel like that should be your answer too when people ask you questions. And it's like, when is season 4 coming out? Comes out when it comes out.
I can say at least it will be in 2023.
Yeah, I've seen that around. Absolutely. So we can see that.
That's a good, at least it's not 2024.
Absolutely. You have an Instagram account, right? People can keep up to date with?
Yes, it's just at Jaren Lewison.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Jaren Lewison, who plays Ben Gross in Never Have I Ever. #Team Ben. Until next time, this is Jaren and VD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.